Flowers. Ma'am, we are back. Can we get started?
Yes, yes. So I've started YouTube also streaming. So I was showing you some exceptional cases. Have you got more flowers to see?
Ma'am, you're not audible.
I'm not audible. Okay. Am I audible now?
Sound maximum, sir.
Actually, my internet is a little weak. Let me see if I can.
Apna speaker to naam kok sun.
Side your
Edo niki speaker ANM virtual audio. No no. Eta sir.
Am I better audible now?
Real tech. Na more to listen.
Now, are you able to hear me properly? Am I audible?
I said.
Okay.
Ma'am,
okay.
you're still not audible. Yeah. Ma'am, could you just say something?
So,
Yes,
am
ma'am.
I audible?
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Right. So, actually, I was. Have you got more flowers by now?
Yes, ma'am.
So, would you want time to see them more? So, what I'll do is I will show a couple of extraordinary cases before you start looking at them. And actually, we will also show you compound flowers like marigold or sunflower, etc. So I think it will be a good idea if I show you exceptions and compound flowers, and
Yes,
then you
ma'am.
open up everything, right?
Okay, ma'am.
So, so I will get back to my PPT once again. So here is a very common flower across India, which is oleander, but in the Hindi belt we call it kaneer. I don't know what's the name in your parts. So kaneer is very difficult. It becomes difficult because it has these other structures around which are actually not reproductive structures. These, like, the flower has inside these. Can you see these pink structures? These are not male or female. And the male and female are actually very curious. So the males actually join up together to make a brush-like structure. So here on the right-hand side, you can see males all join up and actually are twisted together, the male heads. So there is what you will see is actually a brush kind of a thing on top, which is actually males.
The brush part is of the male part of the flower, ma'am?
Yes. The males have have joined up together to make, this is male tips, which have joined up together to make a brush-like structure. And the female is hidden below. So the female is here. So actually, that's why oleander or kaneer is a difficult flower to actually interpret. So this we got from the internet. See, so if some flower you are having difficulty understanding, it is like you can give a Google search and ask for its structure, as long as you know its name. Even if you know the local name, mostly you find it. So this is like one difficult flower. Many flowers are difficult. This is a ladyfinger, bhindi or okra. So here, do you see that the female tip is so large, the brown female tip, it's so large, and the males are tiny, growing on the female. They are like these tiny males growing on the female. So this is also like difficult to understand in one sitting, or generally, I mean, it's confusing. Many flowers would be confusing. Here, there is water lily and lotus. Actually, water lily and lotus are two different varieties, and we included these because we had gone to Pondicherry, where it was a very common flower. So these are two different flowers actually. Water lily and lotus are not same, and they have different structures. So here's water lily, look at the way the water lily has its males. Males are like of different heights and they are crowded around the female. The female is small here, which is called as pistil. So pistil is the female. So female tip is here inside and the males are crowded around. And if I'm not mistaken, water lilies actually trap the insect inside, let the insect explore for quite some time. So, so actually the males would keep brushing against the insect, and the insect has to explore a lot for the nectar, for its reward. So by that time, the pollen goes to the female. Whereas in lotus, look at the huge combination of female tips. It's like many female tips joining up together. And so that's why you have stigmas written, not stigma. Stigma is the female tip. So here stigmas, many female tips joined together like that into the structure. There is seed pod below. And here are the males, the stamens surrounding it. So this is also, lotus is then itself a cluster of flowers, not a single flower. Okay. Which is also true of rose. If you see a rose, you will have to open up a rose. Rose has the same thing. Not a single female, but a bunch of female. It's a compound flower having many females. So many females have joined up together to make this tube. There is stigmas, the female tips. Together, the tubes are joined up together. So stigmas, styles, and ovaries. So many small ovaries joining up to make a big one where seeds are developing. And then there are males crowded around. So this is also a compound flower, not a single flower. So there are many flowers which are compound. And the best examples around us are compound or composite flowers. So this is what is it called? Geenda in Hindi or marigold in English. Marigold. So marigold, I mean, you won't see males, females easily. It looks like just a bunch of petals, lots of petals. Sometimes you see inside some males, but actually the reason being, it's like hundreds of flowers which have joined up together. So, sorry. I will open up also a compound flower and show, but first I'll show the structure here. So compound flowers may have a disc inside, like you see in sunflower or even in chrysanthemum or guldawdi. You will have a disc, and on disc, these tiny structures are there. These are called disc florets, and each of these is a single flower. So there are these disc florets, and on the side there are these petals and something going down below. These are ray florets, each of which is a single flower. So it's like here. So this is a ray floret, and here's a disc floret. So it's a combination of these disc florets and ray florets. Each of these is a single flower, and each of these will have the male and female parts. They are slightly difficult to see, but I'll describe them to you. I'll show them through a diagram. I will also open up I will first open up a marigold on my table.
And we, as the teachers who have marigold, ma'am, should we also start opening up with you?
After I show the diagram, because otherwise it's very hard to interpret. So first, here's, okay, let me spotlight. So I'm opening a marigold. So once I open, I have these, like, you see loads of flowers coming out, and
Yes,
so many disc florets coming from the center, and then outside these ray florets. Ray florets have a bigger petal. So since the petal is bigger, so you are able to easily see it, but lots of them here, and each of them will have their parts. And the same is true for, I do have like a few more compound flowers. So I'll just show their, just show them just like that. So here's, I mean, a flower which is quite similar to sunflower. This is not sunflower, but the disc is very clearly visible. And then of course these, so in the center we'll have disc florets and outside ray florets. And if I break it open, you can see the layout. Disc florets all in the center and ray florets surrounding it, right? Even a chrysanthemum is also like this. Or maybe this is dahlia. This seems to be dahlia. So dahlia, chrysanthemum, like a lot of these flowers are actually composite flowers. So I'll show their parts on a diagram so that you can interpret them yourself.
Okay, ma'am.
So central disc florets and side ray florets. Now let's see. So here is, I mean, again, these are taken from the net because they are neatly drawn. So here is a disc floret, the central one. So do you see? This one is stigma, female tip coming out on top.
Yes, ma'am.
And female would continue throughout the flower to go below where the ovaries. So females continues from top to bottom and innermost. Female is innermost. Then this is anther, which means male tips. So male tips have joined up together to make a brown, or sometimes it almost looks black, a brown structure. So all males have joined to make this tube around the female. And this is corolla, means the petals. So petals have also joined together to make this kind of a structure. I mean, call this the external flower. So female inside, the male surrounding it, and the petals surrounding it. So this is the disc floret. And I mean, here also, you see, I mean, this is a photograph. So female tip, male tips, and this is the petals. And below is the ovary, right? So this is the disc floret. And here, again, the same thing. I mean, disc floret, female tips, then surrounded by male tips joined together. And this is the petals or corolla. And then down below is the ovary. And here is the, so this was the disc floret. Here's the ray floret. Now in ray floret, there's one big petal, which we can see very clearly, one big petal. The female tip is once again out topmost. Female continues till below. So female is the inside. Males are here, joined together. The male is darker color, joined as a tube. So that's why it is a little complex, but still possible to see, at least see something out of it. If you understand this diagram, I'll leave this diagram on screen, and you can open up your, maybe I can leave this one, or yeah, this one is the clearest actually. So, and then you can open up the composite flowers you have and try seeing if you can see anything.
All right. कैमरा तो गोल बोले Ma'am, this is from one of our teachers here. Ma'am, we've just opened a
Yes.
compound flower and separated the ray floret and the disc floret.
Yes. So, yeah, so you can see both kind of florets here, and you will have to pick up one each, right? And try seeing.
Okay, ma'am.
So they'll have very tiny parts. So the eye loop lens, which I was recommending, that helps in seeing. But otherwise, I mean, if you want, you can of course use a hand lens. But if you don't have hand lens, then our mobiles also have these magnifying apps. So there's a magnifier plus or some kind of apps. So do you see, I mean, the dark thing on each of these, the dark part that you are seeing is actually males having made a tube.
Yes,
right?
Yes,
And and female tip is so clearly visible in the disc floret. In a ray floret also, it is often sticking out. If you see closely, you will be able to find it.
Ma'am, this is just the sample that we have opened up. However, we have many of the teachers who are opening up their flowers and I'm checking out the disc and the ray florets.
Yeah, great. Yeah, that's what it has to be done in small groups or individually.
One small piece is there.
अरे बाबा carefully ada bakla kore India
লাগে না দিয়ে দাও কেন
representative of the school Lucy Vidula
টিচার ফ্যান লাগে না ইয়াতে লাগে
ma'am ma'am
তুমি কথা কোৱা ইয়াৰ পৰা ইয়ালৈকে গ'ল আৰু
একটু মাইক না মাইক
মাইক এইটো মাইক
You were asking something?
yes ma'am
Yes. Yeah, tell me.
ma'am we are all done with the dissection of the ma'am compound flower and most of the teachers
Nice.
Ma'am,
Nice.
this is the best way ma'am I can hold it in front of the camera and
Yeah.
ma'am, most of us have got the ray and the disc florets.
Okay, great, great, great. Nice. So, see, actually what, yeah, nice. Yeah, great, great. Yeah, see, in a live class, if like I was in front of you or when you are in front of children, you can do this exercise very well and all children can participate, understand, and even understand many complex flowers, which is otherwise never possible through a diagram. You know, I mean, just showing a diagram in the classroom is the worst way of teaching anything about nature. So, I mean, if we can have live demos, nothing like it. So, and we should be working with real things, you know, real phenomena. So that makes it so much more exciting. So now I'll get to some discussion. So I will now share my screen. So the thing is, one question to be asked is, before we get down to further activities, one question is, firstly, now that the male and female are there, now what is the next step? What does the flower want, or what does the plant want? What should happen now?
Ma'am, it should further go on with the process of reproduction since the male and the female parts are there. And
yeah, so what should happen for that? I mean, Sumdita, let
Yes,
teachers answer. And in fact,
ma'am,
teachers
I'm just
who
conveying their answers to you, ma'am. They are the
okay,
ones
okay,
who are
great,
answering.
great, great, great. Yeah, so now that male and female are there, so now what should happen for reproduction to happen?
What should happen for reproduction?
What should be the next step? The flower is ready. Now what?
Ma'am, they have the answers that the pollen grains should take part in the process of reproduction.
So how does it take part? See, that's the point. So pollen grain is there, which is there on male tips. So what should this pollen do?
It should move from male part to the female part.
Okay, so my question is, does the plant want, or does the flower want that its own pollen should go from its male to its female? The same
No.
flower. So
No.
why not? Why not? I mean, the answer should come from the group at large, and particularly non-science people. I mean, non-science, same, what I mean is people who don't really have studied biology much. So, okay, so would the flower or the plant want, since both male and female are together, so does it want that the pollen from its own male should go to its own female?
No, ma'am. It doesn't want that.
So why not? And why doesn't it want, I mean, it's called self-pollination. Sometimes you find it in nature, but generally nature doesn't like self-pollination.
To have a variety, ma'am, we have an answer here, to have a different variety of flowers around us. So they would not want that to better
So
qualities.
So the thing is, see, the person who's giving the answer, he or she is assuming that the whole process, the whole long story is clear to the listener, which definitely would not be true. So something, there are many steps in the story before we can say that we'll have more variety in flowers or plants. So the point is, nature does not want, or the plant does not want, that its own pollen should go to its own female. So why it does not want is something, a story which, or the reasoning has to be explained in a little more detail. So will anybody like to do it? Do you see, if it had to just transfer its own pollen to its own female, all this exercise of calling insects and attraction and etc. and fragrance and everything would have been useless. Even nectar would be useless, nothing. It could have a box inside from where it transfers its own pollen to a female part, and the fertilization done, reproduction done. Could have just done that inside a tiny box. But puts in so much effort in having hundreds of blossoms, or at times thousands of blossoms, and the blossoms try attracting insects, and the pollen, it is tried that the pollen goes to a different plant. Different meaning the same species, which means rose will want its pollen to go to another rose, not the same plant, but another rose plant. Not on lily, not on marigold, but rose should go to rose. But a rose which is on a different plant, different individual. So why doesn't the plant want that it should self-pollinate, self-reproduce? What's the harm? Can you tell me harm done in humans when there is inbreeding?
Ma'am, just like humans, if this continues, they would have the same type of flowers. There would not be any variety, like kind of a Xerox copy of the genetic problems. There we have an answer, that genetic problems. So, ma'am, the same thing would be repeated over and over again.
Yeah. So actually, what you are saying is that the next generation would be a carbon copy of the previous generation. So, I mean, the same qualities, same traits, same properties would be repeated, not only in flower, fruit, height, health, everything. They'll be clones, they'll be carbon copies. And we do find carbon copies in the plant world. Have you seen carbon copies being made, clones being made in plants?
Yes, ma'am.
How? Where have you seen?
From where, ma'am? Ma'am, we have an answer that, ma'am, sometimes it's done intentionally through artificial techniques.
Like?
Ma'am, through stem cuttings.
Exactly. I mean, we have heard about like growing a plant through a cutting. In fact, I'm sure you get sometimes cuttings or leaves from some of your friends and say, I will
Yes, ma'am.
plant this so that I'll have another plant. Suppose you see a beautiful rose and you get a cutting and you say, I will have the same beautiful rose. So you want identical next generation, identical children.
Next generation. Yes, ma'am.
So the problem about identical children is, if the children are identical to parents, what's the danger?
Ma'am, there could be accumulation of diseases probably, and they'll be the same type. So there's no variation. There's no difference.
Yeah. So which is, I mean, which is correct. Actually, it's kind of slightly more complex. Basically, the same qualities are repeated, which means firstly, it's very dangerous in terms of having negative qualities. So in humans, if you think about it, I mean, if parents have a parent has sugar, the child will have sugar. A parent has diabetes, has heart trouble, the child will have heart trouble. And if the same children, I mean, the same thing keeps happening, I mean, the same parent keeps producing children, everything will be repeated, including bad traits or especially about disease. And we have some excellent examples here, which I'll show you. So, I mean, first so accumulation of diseases over generation is what happens when there is inbreeding. It's not only about cell pollination, it's about even the same parents. Actually, if, I mean, in flower also there is male and female. So if the same parents produce a child, so the same diseases, same traits, same properties, same qualities are carried on. And we have a very good example here. In humans, who are people who don't want to who don't like to marry elsewhere?
Ma'am, I didn't get your question, ma'am.
In humans, there are some humans who don't like marrying outside. They want to marry within their family. Who are they? Have you
Usually,
heard
ma'am,
of some? Huh?
ma'am, we have an answer maybe from the South Indian community, with due respect.
Not even so much in the South Indian community. Actually, royalty, historically, royalty have been people who have refused to mingle with ordinary people, and they married within themselves. That was true of even pharaohs of Egypt. And here's an example from the Habsburg dynasty in Spain. And in fact, royalty, even in British royalty, does this. So they will marry within royalty. So in Habsburg dynasty would marry within close, either brother, sisters, or close cousins, very close relations. Marriages will happen because they thought that lay people, ordinary people were inferior blood. So they will only marry within royalty. And the outcome of that was, this was the last king, the one you see on the screen, Charles II. He was just full of diseases. He had such horrible diseases. Even when he was very young, he barely lived to be 18 or something, I forget. I mean, if you give a Google search on this one, you will see he lived very little. And when he lived, even for walking, he needed other support. He had countless diseases. And look at his features. This Habsburg chin, this longish nose, and that elongated face had repeated to every member of their family because of inbreeding. So firstly, the looks had become pretty distorted. The same traits were, I mean, reinforced, so to say, and also diseases accumulated. So actually the dynasty collapsed because of inbreeding, because they did not actually take care to mix genes or mix qualities across other individuals, which is supposed to be healthy. I mean, so even at least minimally, across the world, mostly humans don't marry brothers or sisters. Never. Real brothers and sisters are never married. At most, like somebody mentioned, South Indian communities or some other communities, at most they will reach the cousins or a slightly different family, but not within the same family, because it's actually not healthy. And across races, across distant races, it's actually even healthier. I mean, we have, many of us have this, like we'll marry within our own gotra or within our same caste or this and that. Even that isn't healthy. Actually speaking, the more the mixing, the healthier it is as far as nature is concerned. Nature wants free mixing so that qualities are shuffled. They're shuffled well so that the next generation, if either of the parents have some problems, some diseases, children have a likelihood of not having the disease. I'll give you my own example. I mean, before taking an example from the plant world, see, I have a disease in my blood. It's like minor thalassemia. So I didn't know that. When I married my husband, I didn't know that. But if my husband also had minor thalassemia, then our child would have full-blown thalassemia. But because my husband did not have thalassemia, so both of us marrying ensured that my daughter doesn't have. So it's like, without knowledge, we happen to do the right practice.
Yes, ma'am.
Otherwise, so our child would have been very ill. Full-blown thalassemia means blood transfusions through life. The person cannot make enough blood. So
Genetic disease, ma'am.
So all sorts of genetic disorders accumulate, and it's good to mix. So I'll give you now one example from the plant world. It's again a very interesting example. So see this. Do you see here? This is the ordinary banana we eat, which is actually grown through non-seed reproduction. I mean, normally banana trees throw up little shoots of babies, and those shoots are planted somewhere else. So they are actually clones of the parent tree. So that's how banana is grown, and very deliberately humans have done away with the seeds. This is a wild banana in nature. Wild banana has plenty of seeds and very little pulp. So firstly, how do you think humans remove the seeds? Where did the seeds go?
Scattered in the soil.
No. I mean, see, banana born in the wild would have lot many seeds inside the pulp. Right? It's full of seeds. You can see here, full of seeds, very little pulp. So from here, how did humans reach here? Where the banana we eat today hardly has seeds, and it has a lot more pulp. So how did this transition happen?
Ma'am, maybe through the process of crossbreeding.
See, crossbreeding
No cells.
means just mixing. So the nature will mix, but it will keep its essential traits. It will keep seeds, which are very essential. So nature would keep seeds. So in the wild, there will be constantly breeding. So which means like different banana trees would cross with each other and produce children. So the banana would remain like this as it was in the wild. It was through crossbreeding. So what did humans do so that banana became like this? So I have something on the chat. So I don't know who's there on Xiaomi, but that person is saying through excretas and field. I don't understand your answer. So can you please, either I can make you allow you to
Maybe
speak.
through controlled. Ma'am, we have another answer from one of our teachers here, through controlled fertilization.
So how would you do controlled fertilization to remove seeds?
Ma'am, maybe they select bananas with lesser seeds. They keep crossing them, and ultimately we get a banana which does not have any seed.
So actually, selective cultivation is correct. I mean, or we call it artificial selection. So what is artificial selection? Is that like humans have done it throughout crops, or for even. I mean, Xiaomi is saying human excreta. No, I mean, it's got nothing to do with excreta. It's about like one crop you have in front. Many people are looking at their mobiles. I don't know whether they're seeing the session or they're seeing something else. So now, since I can see the class, so this mobile watching is for seeing the class, or you're like the attention has drifted off. See, if it's just drifted off, it's not somebody's taking a selfie. So I would request teachers to please leave mobiles for now. See, I mean, you are yourself very conscious that when you are teaching, if children are sitting with mobiles taking selfies or watching other things, it's not a class. See, obviously, I can't force you to learn. Only thing is, any teacher can't force anybody to learn. The only thing the teacher can provide is an opportunity to learn. But that opportunity has to be given by you yourself as well.
Yes,
I mean,
ma'am.
if you don't want to take that opportunity and you cheat me in some way, I mean, well, I won't mind. For me, I'm like, I don't lose anything, right?
Ma'am, we
But
apologize for this. Extremely sorry for this, ma'am. We
no,
really
See, it's like human nature. See, in our normal classrooms also, half the children are not listening, more than half actually, and not all the time. So perhaps 80 to 90% of children are not listening. We are only believing that they are listening. Right. And I do understand that everything won't be of interest to everyone. Two, online classes are not as interesting as real classes. That's also true. The only thing I, as a teacher, can do is try engaging you, which is what I'm trying, right? In a webinar, however much is possible. It's like right now, at least I can see you. Otherwise, in online classes, it's not even possible to see participants. So even one doesn't know what's happening, and still one has to teach. Through engagement, I mean like, okay, so when we interact, when we ask questions, and right now I'm asking some very vital questions on how humans and others, other animals or plant species have developed historically. So there are many things which are worth knowing. But even then, I mean, if some people think that it's not, it's useless information, that is fine. I mean, for me as a teacher, I know, I mean, it's one of the fundamental principles of education that you can't force anybody to learn. I mean, this is something as teachers, if we accept it, it's good for our own self-esteem.
Yes, ma'am.
We can't force children to learn, but certainly we shouldn't force children to mug up or memorize. So the alternative I'm offering is, if you want your children not to mug up and genuinely learn. And believe me, in classes like these, where we constantly ask questions, at least children are extremely, extremely, extremely curious. Extremely curious. They throw a lot of questions and a lot of doubts and interact a lot better. So I mean, I believe that through your own childhood or adulthood, many of you have lost curiosity, which is very sad. Which is sad because we have been given this beautiful trait, quality in our heads, which is that of being curious about the world. And if we have lost it through our childhood or adulthood, it's truly sad. But then it doesn't hurt me. Any people who don't want to know, they are at a loss, not me. I'm still very curious. I'm going close to 60 and I'm still very curious. I keep learning across disciplines also. And I'm a non-biologist, by the way. So anyhow, getting back. So I was saying, the discussion was, how did banana turn to be a kind of banana which doesn't have seeds and a lot of pulp? So like people did say selective breeding, call it selective breeding or artificial selection. It's like you grow a crop and then you notice a usual crop will always have variations. So there are variations, you choose the one with more pulp and less seeds. And next round, you grow those. Once again, whatever you get, and you grow them, you are growing them out of seeds. But once again, you select those which have more pulp and less seeds. Once again, select. So generation after generation after generation after generation, if you keep selecting the qualities that you want, then after a few hundred generations or a few hundred iterations, it can happen as it has happened. We see dogs. Do you see the variety of dogs? So
Yes, ma'am.
many varieties of dogs. They have been selectively bred for special qualities. More fur, tiny size, more docile, more pleasant, etc., etc. And then sometimes even more ferociousness, guard dogs and all that, and more hunting skills and loyalty and all that. So similarly, by selective breeding, humans do develop desired qualities, and that's what they have done in the banana. The banana we eat today has nearly negligible seeds. The seeds are so tiny, they won't even grow a new plant. And the pulp is so much, we are interested in the pulp. So now we have developed, turned wild banana into this for only for pulp's sake and sweetness sake. But now we can't grow it with seeds. We have to grow it through cutting, which means every generation we are producing clones or carbon copies. And the danger is the same danger which I was saying in this humans, royalty. Even British royalty has a blood-related disease, hemophilia, which is there. Even Queen Elizabeth had it, where the blood keeps coming out, bleeding keeps happening, and the blood doesn't clot. So Queen Elizabeth also had. So in bananas, what has happened is, because we grow them only through cutting, there was this banana which was Gros Michel banana, and it across the world, in like thousands and thousands of orchards, they grew this banana. It was very sweet, very tasty, but it caught a disease called Panama disease. It's a fungal disease. And this banana could not resist banana. It did not have the capacity to fight against this disease. So this banana died. This became extinct from the face of the world. It's gone. It couldn't be saved. And exactly the same thing is happening to this banana, which is currently being grown across the world, Cavendish banana. Again, sweet, again, a very popular variety, but it is now under attack from Panama disease. Panama disease does this to banana. I mean, like the fruit gets blackened from inside, the stem gets blackened from inside, and eventually rots. And since it's a fungal disease, the fungus spreads from plantation to plantation to plantation, through soil also, through air also. Fungal spores go through air. So it's very hard to contain this. So scientists today are struggling somehow to save this banana also. It is spread, the disease spreading in India also. It's around us also. So that's the danger if we do not allow free mixing, which means free crossing or free breeding, which means one random male crosses with another random female and their qualities shuffle. And this happens in generation after generation after generation. So that's why we have so much variety in the population. So if some people in the population have some disease, the whole population doesn't have that disease. So disease can be resisted. So, okay, so sexual reproduction is what nature prefers, what is called as cross-pollination. So coming back to flowers, the flower does not want to self-pollinate itself. It doesn't want its own pollen going to its own females. So how does it avoid self-pollination? Now, question again to everyone.
And
what does the flower? Yeah.
We have from one of the teachers already. Ma'am, we could remove the male part of the flower, or maybe we could remove the female part of the flower. We could also keep the pollen grains separated through a process of bagging.
So that is something that human intervention is doing. I mean, humans do such things sometimes, firstly, it would be very hard to remove it from every single flower. Do you see there are thousands and thousands? In fact, not only thousands, millions of flowers in a typical field. So firstly, it would be very hard, but sometimes it's done. But how does nature do it? See, nature itself has made its own arrangements. In nature, self-pollination is avoided. Nature doesn't want it to happen. So a normal flower doesn't want it to happen. So what does a normal flower, usual flower do to avoid self-pollination?
The maturity period for the male part and the female part could be different.
Yes, excellent. So that's one answer. That often, like suppose you have rose plants. So one rose plant will have its males maturing, but females would be immature. And at the same time, another rose plant will have its females maturing and males remaining immature. So which means both their time of maturation is random, is different. So which means like the plant, even if it self-pollinates, the pollen will not grow because the female is not ready to take it. I mean, like, okay, and here is another another answer. The female is often taller. Female is taller, so you see these males cannot transfer their pollen easily to the female tip.
Yes,
their heights are different, and normally the female is longer, but not always. This is not something you will find always, but sometimes you find that the female is much taller, so its own pollen will not easily go there. It can go through, the insect can take some of it, but normally not. Instead, the insect will bring the pollen from other flowers here on the female tip. So having different heights and having different maturation times are two of the strategies followed so that the flower does not pollinate itself. Sometimes self-pollination is done as a last resort, or sometimes in some plants, self-pollination is the chosen strategy also. For example, pea plant does it. So sometimes self-pollination is done, but not usually.
Okay, ma'am.
So, so that's the question we were answering. So we have answered all this by now. Now coming to this question. So we are saying that nature actually prefers sexual reproduction, which means through seeds, which means through male and female crossing each other and different males crossing different females, not from the same individual. So are there any disadvantages of sexual reproduction? We talked about advantages, mixing of qualities. Any disadvantages?
Ma'am, few of the new varieties that come up, they could be more prone to certain diseases, maybe, ma'am, which we in normal languages call as mutations.
Okay, mutation is not necessarily disease. Mutation is
just prone to more diseases, not mutation part, more prone to disease.
True. Yeah, it's possible that some of the next generation may have more disease. I mean, they just acquire disease from both parents also, that possibility exists. Any other disadvantage in general?
Ma'am, one more we have. Ma'am, if either the male or the female parent could be a little inferior in quality, so if it has any problems, so the progeny would not be of a very, there won't be any reproduction. There won't be reproduction if there is any issue with the male or the female parent. That's one part of the answer. And the second part could be that the progeny will not be a very viable one.
Okay, so you are saying some individuals may have certain problems, which so they may not have children or they may not have healthy children, right? So that's one possibility. So see, it's just random crossing and shuffling, random crossing and shuffling. So all kinds of combinations will come up, which is fine. But in general, if nature goes for sexual reproduction, or plants are choosing sexual reproduction, which means they are trying to cross with another plant, what is the is there something which would be, I would say, like a loss to them, some kind of difficulties or disadvantages? Think of a plant producing hundreds and thousands of flowers. So is it losing something?
Energy.
Yes, it has to spend so much. It has to spend so much of energy, matter, I mean, material, food, to create flowers, and that to thousands and thousands of flowers, and also give those flowers scent and color and nectar. So much expenditure just to attract insects, to ensure that insects bring pollen. So it has to spend a lot. In fact, if you see bougainvillea and or many other trees, at times they burst with blooms, even leaving leaves are reduced, and they like fill up with blooms because they have to reproduce well. So at times food production or any other activity is put on the backbench, and they go on for reproduction, producing millions of flowers. So much expense. Any other disadvantage?
Ma'am, they could. We have an answer. Medium is required for the transfer of the male and the female gametes.
Absolutely. If insects are not available, then the whole exercise gets wasted. So if pollinator doesn't come, pollinator is not available, so they are at a huge loss. Yeah, so the medium, whatever the pollination medium, that medium should exist, should be available. Any other disadvantage?
No, ma'am, we can't think of any more answers here.
It doesn't matter. The thing is, but you do notice that I am waiting so that the class can exercise its minds, can reason. See, this wait time is supposed to be one of the most effective strategies a teacher can use so that the class can think more. Often teachers give very little time to the class to think. This wait time is one of the most powerful strategies you can use to make the class think more and come up with reasons. Even if you don't have the correct answer, each of you must, I mean, those who are listening and participating would be actually, their minds would be thinking constantly, twisting and turning ideas in their heads, which is so healthy. Reasoning by yourself is so healthy. So even if you don't have the answer, it doesn't matter. You have thought about possibilities. You've thought about various explanations, right? Which is excellent, which is a device we all should employ. So one disadvantage is this is a long drawn process. First buds, then flowers, then calling insects, and then pollination happens, and pollen should goes there and then grows. It's a long drawn process, takes time, takes energy. So like the plant has to invest a lot in this process. And in comparison, asexual reproduction, where something grows by cutting, is so fast, immediate. I mean, no extra, not much extra to be put in. So anyhow, it's slow, and there's a lot of uncertainty. It's very costly for the plant, slow, and lot of uncertainty. So anyhow, now that the pollen, so we will come to pollinators. So pollinators are bees and butterflies. Any others?
Birds.
Birds,
Birds.
yes. Yes.
Human beings.
Yes, yes, rarely though.
Wind. Air.
Wind, yes, yes,
Water.
absolutely.
Water.
Water, yes. Uh, so wasps, moths, uh, insects, flies. I mean, well, flies are also insects. Bats, birds. You can see, and like some bats actually depend on pollination. Sorry, on flower nectar for their food. Even hummingbirds depend. A lot of birds depend. Tiny birds often depend on this food source alone. And and here we have a beautiful video, though that video has been taken off by YouTube because of some copyright issue. But it's a video called "The Beauty of Pollination." I'll show it in a second. But first, I want to talk about this flower which you see here on the screen. Do you recognize this flower?
Yes, ma'am.
Which this is? It's called what? I mean, it's called the Rangoon creeper, or in Hindi we call it Madhu Malti or Malti. It has a beautiful fragrance, but fragrance comes only in the evening and night. Why do you think it is fragrant only in the night?
To attract the pollinators, the ones which are nocturnal in nature.
Exactly, exactly. Yes. So that nighttime moths are one main pollinator. So at nighttime when moths will come, then it will start giving fragrance. During the day, this flower depends on another pollinator. This is one flower which depends on three different pollinators in day and night, and therefore changes color also. For the pollinator, it changes from white to light pink to dark red. So one flower stays for 2.5 days and changes color so that it attracts three different pollinators. So it's like, I found this very fascinating. Uh, yeah, so Xiaomi is saying Madhavi Lata. Yes, we call it Malti. So it's Madhavi Lata. Nice. So now I will try showing this video. Let me see. So it's saying unavailable. I'll have to search. Uh, hmm. So it's a TED talk by the same author. Actually, he's a very famous filmmaker. So I will come to his the video. Just give me 1 minute. He's like, the video is very beautiful, but he's removed it for like as a single plain video. So wait, I'll just start the sound and then you will be able to see it. His name is Louis Schwartzberg, and the video is a very famous one. So tell me if you can hear music.
Ma'am, the music is not audible. Yes, ma'am, we can hear it now.
So we saw such a beautiful video it was. And here we are seeing a bee covered, like smeared in pollen. Not only that, bees actually collect pollen in pollen sacs because they also eat pollen and take it for their kids. So they don't only eat nectar, they eat pollen as well. So, and here we have like a very small video where you can see a bee, literally diving in pollen.
Ma'am, the video is not visible to us.
Oh, wait. Just a second. Now visible?
Yes, ma'am.
So the bee is collecting pollen for taking home. Do you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so I think you did not see the past two pictures. So so here is the bee with pollen sacs. And
Ma'am, is the yellow color portion below the bee, which is called as the pollen sac?
yeah, this is the pollen sac where it actually like collects pollen, takes it to the takes it to its coop. Now here I'm showing a video of a salvia flower, which has an interesting shape. So the flowers are trying to rub insect bodies. So for that, they have made such special
Besuchen
arrangements.
Sie die Blüte, werden Sie mit einer süßen Flüssigkeit.
So there is a platform on which the bee sits, and immediately the male and female start rubbing against it, against its body. So here it's being tried. See, the moment you press, it actually actually bends to, and the same thing you can see in an amaltas or golden shower. So you can see curved male parts and curved female parts to actually achieve the same thing. So, so their flowers make arrangements so that, and interestingly, after pollination is done, the male parts are all shed. So under an amaltas tree, you can see a whole lot of male parts shed once pollination is done. So, okay. And here's something which we would otherwise show in a live workshop, which is seeing flowers under ultraviolet light. Insects can see ultraviolet. We can't. So some people have pictured flowers under ultraviolet. So I'm showing you. We do have an ultraviolet torch, but I doubt if I'll be able to show you. I can give it a try. So we'll have to have a dark room, but you can see that some parts of the flower starts fluorescing, which means they become very luminous, especially the parts which are important in pollination. Look at this. The male
Yes, ma'am.
tips are shining. Similarly, the channel where the insect needs to go is shining. Look at a hollyhock, as it seems to us versus as it seems to insects, glowing, glowing under ultraviolet light. So let me try. I have ultraviolet with me. So let me see. I'm not sure whether we'll be able to show definitely, but let me give it a try on my table. So here's my ultraviolet light, and I will put random flowers under it. So see, we can't see ultraviolet, but some flowers have, some blue light has been mixed with it so that we can at least see light. Otherwise, we won't be able to see. Let me see if, so this is lily. See, if some part fluoresces, it will start looking different. It will start shining. So I don't think something is shining here other than the male heads. Do you see the male tip shining here?
Yes, ma'am.
So it's the male tip shining. So let me bring the male tips together on my screen.
No, she's just showing that how it would appear to an insect through an
Yeah,
insect.
because insects can see ultraviolet, we can't. So see, the ultraviolet tip, ultraviolet is making the male tips shine. Fluoresce. Fluoresce means like they start giving light. They absorb this light and start giving visible light. So, I mean, the male tips have started shining. I mean, I am seeing them shining more. Probably the camera won't show so much.
And we are getting a glimpse of it, ma'am. It's shining over here.
Let me see. Let me try with other flowers. In this flower, the disc florets have started their tips. They have started shining. Can you see dots here?
Could you just lift the flower a little up, ma'am? It's not coming within the camera range.
No, the thing is,
Towards-
this is half a flower. This was the
Oh.
one I.
Yes,
So,
yes, ma'am.
so can you see the tips shining? The tips, some tips shining are visible here.
Yes, ma'am, we can view it.
So they are actually fluorescing, which means fluorescing means they actually start giving light. So let me try with one or two more flowers. It's the same flower, but here a ring is fluorescing. Some parts are fluorescing. Can you see? Yeah, here. See, those tiny dots, no? These are dots of light.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Here, I mean, it was fluorescing a lot.
Ma'am, all of us are fascinated by the view that we are getting.
Yeah, so this is worthwhile doing. Right now, it's fluorescing a lot. See those dots? So this is like, so this is how it will appear to an insect. So the flower would be far more attractive to an insect than it is to us, right? So that's the fascination of the living world. I mean, I'm encouraged to try just one more compound flower. Okay, or maybe I should try. Let me see what this one does. I have brought. No, this one isn't.
Yeah, yeah, ma'am, it's not flashing.
Yeah, it's not flashing. See, it will become different from all the rest. So anyway, now I have to. We don't have too much time, so I have to quickly show you. So this fluorescing thing I wanted to show, but now we have to show that the bees takes pollen from one flower and goes to other flowers, and there by accident it drops it on the female. So it's like the bee doesn't know it's doing it, but it happens. And then this was insect pollination, but there is wind pollination. So wind pollination means a lot of pollen thrown by, so this is males of corn. So male tips, look, it's like covered with male tips, male parts, throwing a lot of pollen in the wind, and female ready to receive it. Look at the female tip. You see it on corn cobs, no? Over butta. So the female tip, it is like so hairy to receive pollen from the wind. So wind pollinated, all grasses are wind pollinated, rice and wheat and all those. So look at the males hanging out, I mean, just to throw large amount of pollen in the wind. And look at the females like brush like hairy to capture the pollen. And of course, you can see the males here also. So when it's time for grass flowers to bloom, it's very interesting. And wind pollination in pine trees, Pine trees have cones. They don't have flowers, but they are wind pollinated. So here, so much pollen. If you shake it, so much pollen. So, I mean, the same thing here in both videos. In fact, they throw so much pollen that people get sick. People with pollen allergies get sick in the season, and people say this is hay fever, or mausam badal raha hai, the season is changing. That's why people are getting sick. And actually, it is pollen causing allergies. So pollen has landed on the female tip here, and now it will grow a tube. It will grow a tube to reach the unfertilized seeds, the seeds which are currently not mature. The pollen tube goes, meets the seed, or which are called the ovules. And here's the pollen tube. This is an actual photo. And then crossing happens or fertilization happens, and the seed starts developing. So here are pollen tubes, actual photo under a microscope, growing pollen tubes. So after pollination is over, now what? Fertilization done. Now what? After pollination is done and the seeds are getting ready, now what is the next thing to do for the plant?
It would fertilize.
See, fertilization is done. I mean, once pollination is done, pollen has grown a tube and gone and met the ovary. I mean, the seeds in the ovary. Now, in the crossing is done. Inside, the seed starts developing. Does anything happen besides the seed?
The formation of the fruit.
Yes, formation of the fruit. So my question to everyone is, why is the fruit formed? Why should there be a fruit around the seed? Think of an apple or pomegranate or mango or guava, grapes. Why a fruit?
Need the seed.
What does the fruit, what advantage?
To protect the seed, to provide nourishment to the seed, to store food.
Okay, but food for whom?
The developing seed, the embryo.
Okay, so the thing is, see, firstly, if it was to protect the seed, it need not have been colorful, tasty, fragrant. Why does it is having so much sugar? See, so that's certainly not for protection. Protection, something that protects won't be pulpy, sweet, tasty, and having so much smell. So protection is not for what fruit is formed. So fruit is for something else. There is nourishment, but nourishment for whom? So Xiaomi is saying to go for dispersal through animal and bird. The fruit is for us, for animals and birds. Eat and spread the fruit, spread the seed. You eat the fruit, it's bribe for us. So we are being bribed. Eat the fruit, throw the seed, spread the seed. That's what the plant cannot walk. So the plant uses others to take its children away to different places. If children do not go to different places, what is the harm?
They remain confined to one particular place. They do not explore.
So what is the harm?
They do not have space.
If they remain in the same place, what's the harm?
Lack of that's with respect to plants. Lack of physical activity with children.
Lack of physical activity. Plants anyway don't have a physical activity.
Children.
And this chat box, Xiaomi is saying all seeds can't grow together at one place. I'm asking why. I mean, suppose seeds are all grow near the plant, near the parent plant. What's the harm?
They would get soil nutrients would not be available.
Yeah, there'll be overcrowding. The nutrients, sunlight, water, everything will not be sufficient. Like we also don't have many generations living together. So because it's gets a lack of nutrients. So that's why the seeds need to be dispersed. So, and who all disperse? Okay, one is animals and birds, for which the seeds are, the fruit is tasty, juicy, sweet. But what other dispersal agents?
Water,
Water, air,
air,
what else?
through the scattering of seeds,
Through
exploding.
Yeah. So actually, there are lot many ways seeds are dispersed, and we have a very large collection. I want to show you, but first I'll show you a video where I'm like the video is showing. These are called helicopter seeds, seeds which have wings so that they come down like a helicopter. I mean, this is one particular plant, but we have plenty of these in India. I mean, we have our own, the helicopter seeds is a common word given to them. It's not a technical word, but I'll show you a video of our own. So let me see if it runs. This is taking time to load. There. When you throw it, we have the seed. When you throw it, it comes down like this.
Wow,
You know,
ma'am.
whirling. Whirling. What is the advantage? What would be the advantage if the seed comes down like that?
It will spread out. It will not be damaged.
It will not fall in one
It will not fall
Okay.
in one place.
It will fall in
Not fall in one place. It if it's whirling with gusts of wind, it will travel far and wide. So that's the advantage. So now I will be showing you a lot of seeds. We have a large seed collection. So I'll show one by one. My helper Parul will be handing over to me, and you can quickly tell me what would be the mode of dispersal. How would this seed disperse itself?
Wind.
Yeah, so you can see the seed is this much, but there's a large wing. So this is wind dispersal. So wind dispersal has lot many types. So here's a smaller version, which at least in North India, children also eat this one. So the seed is small, but it has a large wing. So
Wind.
yeah, so this is also wind. Here is another another wind dispersed seed. This is very delicate. It's very lightweight. See, wind dispersed seeds, it's actually running off my hand because the fan is blowing. So it's so delicate, and the seed cannot have weight. In fact, the seed cannot have nutrition inside because that will add to the weight. So normally wind dispersed seeds are very small, small or lightweight. So this is another wind dispersed. So, and a lot of wind dispersed ones have, so see this one. It has so much fluff. So the seeds are embedded inside this fluff, hairy fluff. So just a gust of wind and this will fly away to, and this also comes out of a bean actually, but it flies away all over the place. You must have seen it in proper season. I mean, many such seeds keep flying around us and we don't even
Ma'am, are
notice.
these cotton pods that you had just shown us?
These were not cotton pods. I'll show you cotton pods. So this is helicopter seeds. So this is another helicopter seed. The video which I was showing was of this seed. This is actually a tree with very large leaves called Kanak Champa. So this is Kanak Champa seed. So there are pods which drop these seeds, and it would have started dropping by, this is April. So it will start dropping in May, June, and drop for 3-4 months, and you can actually collect and keep them. I actually collect them every season. So I'll show you the pod, what the pod looks like, and I'm sure this would even be present in Assam. I'm only guessing. So this is what the pod looks like, and the pod is hanging below. dropping its seed. Inside there would be a layer of seeds. So this one drops these seeds, and the tree is called Kanakchampa. And well, uh, uh, I'll show you other varieties also. So see, this you must have seen. This is I mean, similar to supari. So supari and coconut are all water dispersed. So water dispersed would be very fibrous and lightweight. So this is water dispersed. I mean, I'll show you more water dispersed. Like, of course, nariyal or coconut is already one which all of us have seen. This is another water dispersed. So look at the amount of fiber. It's very fibrous. So this fibrous fiber helps it float. So this is called flotation. And then so I will show you here. So I'm showing kind of randomly. So here's another wind dispersed. This one is pretty common, at least here, this side. So, I mean, when people sweep roads, many of these are actually swept on the roads. So this is also wind dispersed, like leaves. They look like dry leaves and they keep floating around. So, and then there are like beans which burst at their seams. So I will show you some beans. So here I have plenty of beans here. So beans would burst on their sides, split on their sides and throw the seeds around. So this is like splitting with some explosion. So when it splits with an explosion, the seeds are thrown around. And there are many kinds of beans. There are beans which get twisted. They get twisted as they throw their seeds around, so that the three seeds are thrown in all directions. So here's a hugely twisted bean. Just look at this. So badly twisted. So it twists itself so that the seeds are thrown in all directions. So there are like a large number of beans in every environment. I mean, there is one here. So we don't know this name. So I have some some seeds from Andamans. The seeds are large, but they are large because the tree. Look at this against my hands. It's like as large as my fingers. But these trees were very, very tall. These were like equatorial forests. So large seed, but very, very large trees, hundreds of feet. Even here's another one this is also a helicopter seed with its like, wait, this is a little too high. So it had such large wings. The seed is this, but the wings are so large. You can see against my hand. It's larger than my hand, actually. That's because the tree was really, really large. So Andamans has trees like that, very, very large, huge. So huge seeds. And here we have, okay, another seed which would burst to release its seed. And here we have cones. So pine cones are actually, they come on, non-flowering plants. These are non-flowering plants. They don't produce flowers. They produce directly cones. So there are male and female cones. This is a female cone. A female cone would have seeds inside. And these are also seeds with wings, which would fly off as the cone opens. The male cone doesn't have this kind of a structure. We have a male cone, but it somehow got broken. So here it is. So this is a male cone. The male cone is normally much tinier and it doesn't have open structure. So its job is to just throw a lot of pollen. You saw that that wind pollination video, no? So
Yes,
it was
ma'am.
of pine trees. So basically in pine trees, male cones throw large amount of pollen and the female captures it and then makes seeds, which are then thrown off in the wind. So we have all seen cones. So I'll show you some more of varieties that we have. So there is cotton. So somebody like Somdita talked about cotton. So this is actually silk cotton, semal or silk cotton. So every pod produces a lot of this fluff in which seeds are embedded. So the tree throws all this around, and so this is cotton pods. So I'll show you individual cotton pod. So this is an individual cotton pod, which is like just getting ready to burst. And when they burst open, then when this kind of fluff comes out, cotton, which we all use, and there are actually seeds hidden inside, embedded inside. I mean, I will, you must have seen cotton seeds, some of you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so these are cotton pods. And then we have here another bean which has opened on its seams to throw off its seeds. So, so I mean, like around us, there are seeds and fruits of various kinds. Like all, I mean, in the wild, there's so much variety that you will be aghast. I mean, I never noticed earlier till I started working on this session. So here's this is, I think, supari. Or
Ma'am,
betel nut.
in the local language, ma'am, few of the teachers wanted you to know that it's called as Tamul. Tamul in
Tamul.
Assam.
So yeah, here is tamul fruit. The seed is inside is what we eat. And but see, this is, I mean, how would this be dispersed? What do you think? Tamul?
Wind.
No, and not wind actually. Look at its structure. You can immediately see.
Water.
Yes, water. It's like so fibrous. It floats on water. This is actually you can say almost a brother of coconut. So it looks like coconut, but it floats. And here's a full fruit. I have a full fruit also here, tamul. So full fruit, but it's very lightweight and fibrous. So here's another one which is water dispersed. This is one part of the fruit, but look at the amount of fiber it has.
Ma'am,
So
we have a teacher who wanted to share a piece of information that Tamul, ma'am, the betel nut in Assam was discovered by the Britishers, and they would eat this as a fruit.
Yeah, they used to have
okay.
juice of the thing after
They would take the juice of the betel nut after their meals.
Oh, nice. So, I mean, actually, officially, our time is nearly over. So I just wanted to show. See, if you have very interesting seeds in Assam, you should collect and send them to us. So we make
ma'am.
this collection. This collection has grown over the past many years. So out of which some have been sent by other people. So please, if you have nice seeds or fruits, please send. Here are, do you recognize these?
Ma'am, there's a request from one of the faculty members. They want you to come down to Assam, give us a physical presentation, and then we give you the seeds, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll come. See, for this workshop, it wasn't possible for me to come because I have many things happening currently here. So, and we have a 3-day workshop starting tomorrow. So that's why it wasn't possible. But I'll certainly come sometime. So do you recognize this?
Yes, it's a nut.
It's a nut.
Yeah, so this is a pine nut. Actually, it's an oak nut, oak pine. Yeah. So oak nut. And how do you think this disperses?
After it gets mature,
Mode of dispersion. Wind, water, insects. Ma'am, does it disperse through water?
No water, no wind. It has a very unique method.
Birds.
Not even birds, actually squirrels and all, small mammals. You must have seen in those British movies or even that Ice Age, right? So Western movies, they show this like animals collecting this nuts. So the dispersal is very interesting. Squirrels would gather these nuts, and the tree produce in large numbers. So squirrels would gather and keep for winter. So the squirrels will keep eating, but some will always survive and grow. When the correct time comes, they will actually germinate. So this is like actually offering animals some nutrition so that they do this service also. So here's another brother of the coconut. This is not coconut, but looks quite like that. I mean, the outer shell is very much like coconut. This is also water uh, dispersed. So such a fibrous character. So this is also from Andamans. So here are some large.
Ma'am, is it tal plant? Tal is in the local language.
See, I won't know.
Palm, ma'am, palm. Is it some kind of a
That would be not. I mean, it would be some relation to coconut, but I don't know which. See, that's like beyond me. So see this large bean from the Andamans, like so large. See, bigger than my hand. So once again, this would disperse by bursting at its side. And here are, you see, this I'm sure you will recognize. Do you recognize this? This is actually the thuja, which we call as morpanki in Hindi. And actually, it's a non-flowering plant, and these are its little cones. I mean, here, it's a decorative plant. I'm sure you have seen it. Like very green, and it's called more punky because it has like it's like peacock feathers. The leaves are like peacock feathers. It's actually non-flowering pine, so that therefore a cone. So I have only a few more to show. I'll just select which which I want to show. Yeah, so there is one variety which I'm sure you will recognize immediately, which is this. Can you say how this would transmit?
animals?
Yeah, by sticking to animals. In fact, we have all done in childhood. I'll stick this to a hanky. You see, I mean, the moment you come close to this seed,
Oh, chodkata.
it sticks. It sticks to cloth, sticks to animal fur. So there are many like that. They will stick to animal fur, and the animals would especially dogs and all. Dogs or any animals actually in the wild. So they see this one has gotten stuck to the tablecloth also. So it will stick to anything which has a little fiber. And there are other varieties here of similar type. Now most seeds have dropped off, but this one sticks very badly. It almost
Yes, ma'am.
stings. Yeah, so this also sticks to animals. So this, by the way, when I was showing those nuts,
Ma'am,
how
in the
about bamboo?
local language, ma'am, it seems it's called as the bon guti. Bon means grass and guti means seed. So it's a bon guti
Oh,
which sticks to the surface.
okay, nice. Bon boutique. Yeah, so I'm sure Assam has plenty of interesting varieties. How about bamboo? How do you think bamboo produces its seeds, fruit, and how does it disperse? Bamboo has a very special strategy.
Dispersal is through animals.
Yes, but it has a very different strategy, very special.
Vegetative reproduction.
Not vegetative. Xiaomi is saying roots. Actually, see, some bamboos do have flowers and fruit coming every year or every 2 years. But in general, like many bamboos, let's say, have the full forest will bloom once in 60, 70 years or even in a century. The full forest will bloom only once in a while and suddenly produce tons and tons and tons of seeds. So much seed that it's not possible for animals to eat. Like, so that time it's called bamboo rice. And that time the population of rodents, mice, and all actually grows a lot. And then humans also eat bamboo rice, I believe. But the main plant, the plants which have the forest which has produced the seeds will die, and fresh growth of new bamboos will come because there's so much seed in the forest, it can't be eaten. All of it can't be eaten. So,
And ma'am, there's
that's also another.
Ma'am, the
Sorry?
teachers ma'am, teachers they just wanted you to know just fact, maybe, ma'am, that in the local tradition, it is believed, ma'am, as you said, that the bamboo plant gives a flower every 60 to 70 years. So, ma'am,
Yeah.
once it gives the flower, there's a belief in the local tradition that, ma'am, this is basically a signal for the commencement of some kind of, famine.
Okay.
This is, ma'am, a belief in the local tradition.
Okay. So it's possible. Like, I mean, okay, local beliefs arise out of various things, but biologically or botanically speaking, it's actually it's a strategy that produce seed only once and in a very long time and produce so much that animals can't finish it. So a lot of seed remains. So the whole jungle will come up once again, will sprout once again. The old bamboos will die. So, I just wanted to show this also another helicopter seed. So just came in my hand. So another helicopter seed having three wings. So if I drop it, it will also come whirling down. So I think we have shown you all kinds, though, I mean, the collection would have more things, but I suppose we have shown all varieties. So I'll remove this and we will now end today's session. So with that, we'll end the session today. Because we have in fact finished our time also, but we have mostly covered what I wanted to cover. So I hope you enjoyed the session. And
yes, ma'am.
And hope we meet sometime in person.
Yes, ma'am.
And sometimes you give me an opportunity to come to Assam.
Yes, ma'am.
Northeast is forever exciting, forever attractive for anybody living in North India. So it is so nice to come to Northeast. So hope we meet sometime.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I would like to take, ma'am, you can hear the claps.
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Ma'am, I like to take this opportunity and thank you for this super informative session, ma'am, that you had given us. Ma'am, all of us, we were very excited what we would be doing with the flowers, and especially when you started up with opening the flowers, ma'am, I could not, focus the camera, but every teacher here, ma'am, we were busy opening flowers and, dissecting its various parts. So, ma'am, that session in itself was very, very informative and intriguing. And ma'am, the various seeds, the various things that you told us about pollination, about how nature avoids self-pollination, the advantages, the disadvantages of cross-pollination, it was so, so, so informative, ma'am. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. And most importantly, the diversity that nature gives us, the different varieties of seed dispersal through animals, through abiotic factors. I think all of us were glued to the session and we enjoyed thoroughly. And though I'm speaking, I think this is, the view of every teacher present here. So ma'am, I on behalf of the entire SBO family would like to thank you, and we look forward to meeting you in person. Thank you so much, Anshumala ma'am.
Uh, surely, friends. See, I would love to come, and you're most welcome. See, we are a foundation. So me, Swapna ma'am, currently you can see Nitya Nagarajan, Manisha Yadav. We are all a team, and our job is we are trying to show how good science classrooms can be, how they should be. So for that, we put in a lot of effort in physics, chemistry, biology, environmental science. We are trying to prove that everyone can enjoy science. Science is about our world, a world all of us share. So it doesn't matter what stream you come from, you should be able to enjoy our world. I'll finish by just showing this because that packet has been sent and would have reached but couldn't reach the class. So this is an eye loop lens which actually jewelers and watchmakers use, but it's a very good field device. How does it work? I mean, you have to close one eye and keep the cup. It has a cup and it has a lens. So the cup should be kept touching the eye, and whatever object you want to see. Suppose I want to see a flower, I will have to bring it very, very close. So when I bring it very close, at one point, I will see it quite large. So it's very interesting this way also, and this can be actually put next to my mobile camera, and I can take enlarged pictures. So this is a very exciting device, simple, cheap, and actually children can handle it very well. I mean, there's not much difficulty involved. So it's a very good field device for children. So that's why I would encourage you to use it in your school. We have sent 30 right
Yes,
now.
ma'am.
So
And
that
we would
packet would
definitely
come.
be using it. And ma'am, most importantly, I think all we now as teachers, we understand that how we can make the classroom more interesting and ask the children to think beyond books. That a flower does not necessarily mean a hibiscus flower. It could mean so many different varieties. So thank you so much, ma'am. Any questions, teachers, or anything that you would like to share?
Yeah, anything anybody wants to say?
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was a pleasure to have you.
So, all right. So I will